Not be prouder of the collaboration, local, state, federal entities, of which we are but one part of the federal family. United States Army Corps of Engineers has been doing this for 250 years. We'll celebrate our 250th birthday on June 16th, and we've been delivering for our nation and our nation's warfighters the entire time. We have been here since landfall and working hard to make sure that those that were impacted return to their normal patterns of life as most efficient, expeditiously, and safely as possible. I'm honored to be a part of the team of many that is a part of this restoration effort. The restoration of critical infrastructure, water quality, safety measures, the infrastructure assessments and inspections that have taken place, and perhaps most importantly and most visible, the debris removal. What we're doing on our waterways, what we are doing in the communities is a must. And we aren't going anywhere. As I said, we've been here since landfall, and we aren't going anywhere. We are doing what we do best, that is execute as a member of the team. It's important that you know it is not just your Army Corps of Engineers. It is local, state, and other federal partners that are doing this work and mindful of the devastation that occurred as a result of the hurricane. But I'm excited to be a part of the many that are going to make sure that this is done right, it's done safely, and it's done with a sense of urgency. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce Mr. Lee Forskren, the Principal Deputy, the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works. I've been able to spend time with Mr. Forskren, and I'm excited to share with him what we're doing here, but it's been clear. His direction to me is to stay on the gas, continue to get after it, and we're going to do just that.
Thank you, General Kelly. And I wanted to just say that I was sent by the President down here to make sure that that interagency, multi-level government, public-private effort is continuing as it should be. And for everything I've seen so far, it is a success story to date. We've got a ton still to do, and we are here for the long term. We are going nowhere, and we're going to be here until it's done. I don't generally wear these things. There is nothing. I took the job with the Corps, because the organization is as good as this country has, and I have seen nothing today or that it would lead me to have any question, but we are here for the long term. The Corps is here, the other federal agencies are here. We're working in hand in glove with the state, with the localities, and if you need anything, we are going to be here, and we are here to help. I guess that's, with that, we'll let people who really have the answers to what's going on speak.
Absolutely. With that, we'll transition over to our couples meets, if that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So I got to follow you, man. That's tough to do. Following the general's the hard part. Huh?
And then,
How are you?
good. How about you?
Doing all right.
I was going to ask you to mic up, but you already got it. Yep.
You already gave up that.
I get you
travel with the mic on.
Okay, yeah, you was going to say
Record all my conversations.
yeah.
He's gonna give me these kangaroo vests, man. This one's going at. So it's only.
Two on that side, and then we just tuck in the wires.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys. I got plenty of pockets.
I got kangaroo pockets. I'm good.
They issue me a lot of pockets.
It's old stuff you get to carry.
Yep. Just me and you?
I guess it's me and you, sir.
Okay, we're good. You're
All right.
enough information. So, Colonel Brad Morgan, BRADMORGAN. I'm the commander of the Wilmington District, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I'm also been the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers lead for all the recovery efforts here in support of FEMA in Western North Carolina. So, as General Kelly said previously, obviously been tasked since landfall working this mission set. Excited to see some of the progress that we've achieved, especially over the last couple of months. First and foremost, we just crossed about 5 million cubic yards of debris removed from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and our contract partners. So a pretty significant milestone for us and our team. The vast majority of that, about 3 million plus, have come out of the waterways of Western North Carolina. Here where we're standing within the city of Asheville, you can see Hominy Creek through our background. So excited to be a part of this team. Excited to continue to be on this mission. Like I said before, having seen it from landfall, hunkered down myself on the coast of Wilmington, monitoring some of my lakes and the other projects, and monitoring some of the accountability and personal staff that I have throughout offices all throughout Western North Carolina. And this is...
I'm George Mingus. I'm the debris subject matter expert for this mission. My name is spelled Georgminges. And I'm here to lead our Army Corps of Engineers civilian team in support of Colonel Morgan and the debris removal effort.
All right, we're open to any questions or anything.
Contract here in Buncombe County, as I understand, is about $221 million for just waterway debris removal. Is that like a standard size contract for kind of metro urban county? Or is this like a bigger project than most Army Corps engineers have?
It's a pretty massive project. Obviously, Buncombe County and the city of Asheville was kind of the epicenter of a lot of the impacts from the storm. So kind of the scale or scope of the work is going to determine kind of the cost of the contract, right? So if there were a lesser of an impact here, you wouldn't have that size of a dollar amount or that size of a contract go in place.
And with size adjustments for the amount of debris on the ground, I know that over the past several months, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has kind of revised that number. It's gone from 10 million. Some local county officials were reporting different numbers. From Polk County and Buncombe County were saying 10 million in their counties alone. From what I understand, there was maybe a misunderstanding there, but now it's been revised to like closer to 6 million or 5 million. You know, were those contracts let with that 10 million in mind, or are they being adjusted over time to, you know, account for the actual amount of debris on the ground?
Okay, so kind of two-part response. So the initial estimate was based upon, you know, people driving around in vehicles, really whatever they could see or access from the road at the time, very early post-storm, right? So we still had a lot of roads that were closed. Debris estimates are just that. I mean, it's an estimate. You're trying to get a scale and a scope of the magnitude of what you're dealing with. And of course, it's going to vary based upon whoever provides that. So in terms of our numbers, kind of what we're reporting out is, you know, we're showing what we have under a contract for one of our contractors to remove. So that's where that 6 million amount is coming from. However, we are seeing and bringing in a lot more additional quantities of debris as we continue to work in and around the waterway. So that number can continue to grow and likely will as we continue to execute additional work in additional locations throughout Western North Carolina.
Yeah, and in Transylvania, the Transylvania Times had a report last week that a woman jumped in front of heavy machinery in a waterway in the Little River. A couple environmental groups have expressed concerns about endangered species in the Little River, particularly endangered mussels here in Western North Carolina. And the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission has issued a guide for those waterways, and those wildlife resources and biological groups have suggested that subs from the primary have either avoided or not followed those guides fully. What are you doing to ensure that environmental regulations and guides are being followed in the waterway debris removal process?
Sure, good question. So a lot of the work that we're executing here falls under FEMA and its environmental and historical permitting process and procedure. So they manage the NEPA coordination with all the other federal resource agencies. So they have the blanket oversight in terms of the work that we're doing. So in terms of coordination with U.S. Fish and Wildlife for any type of critical habitat for threatened and endangered species, we're doing coordination with them in addition to any of the state historic or tribal historic preservation offices to see if there's any archaeological or other cultural resources that we may encounter while we're working in and around the water. So we do that initial review with FEMA and their EHP and their coordination. We've got the areas identified within our Geographic Information System products, our GIS. That is then overlaid in terms of where is the critical habitat, where are the potential archaeological or cultural resource areas that we need to be cognizant and aware of, and we go through that review. So in speaking directly with kind of the guidance document the North Carolina Water Resources Division put out and some of the additional guidance that North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission has, we are taking that into consideration as well. We've also pulled their information in terms of high quality habitat for those state listed or those state focused species of concern. So we also have that information on our GIS products so that we can then adjust as we can some of the debris removal means and methods that we are executing. So if there is a location where we don't have to put a piece of equipment in the water to actually remove that hazardous debris, we're not going to do that. But if there may be other locations where we have to, that's the only viable course of action that we have to actually get that debris removed from the waterway. So we continue to go through those continuous reviews. We also have our staff that are out in the field, so U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Department of Homeland civilians that are trained as quality assurance representatives that are there working with and monitoring the work of our contractors to ensure that they are taking eligible debris first and foremost, and that they are also participating or executing their operations under the current environmental and cultural documents that we have to allow them to execute their work.
Can you put into perspective what 5 million cubic yards of debris looks like?
5 million washing machines, that's probably not helpful. Let's see, 2.5 million porta potties like we have kind of behind us in terms of scope and scale. George, you have a better quantification. I think on our information graphic it would cover Central Park in New York under about a 5-foot blanket of debris, if that makes sense. It's a pretty sizable amount. I think we would fill Panther Stadium 4 times over or something along those lines.
I think that's the number. Yep.
So it's a lot.
It's a substantial amount. It's the largest I've ever dealt with microwave.
And we see how much work has been done. How much remains for you guys, timeline-wise?
So timeline for us, we're still working off of some of the original kind of directed guidelines from in coordination with the state, in coordination with FEMA, and of course in coordination with us. So we're finishing up right away in most of the areas where we started that mission. That's where we're just driving around, picking up what we could, off the side of the road. That's generally complete. For our waterway debris removal, when we first got started on February 1st, we're still pushing hard to meet that target date of June 1st. To be up out of the water, get the hazardous waterway debris away from the waterways. We know how important it is for tourism as well as just people that want to get out and enjoy a lot of the beautiful scenery here within western North Carolina. So June the 1st is our target to be finished with most of the waterway debris removal. And then we're also doing private property and commercial property debris removal. So our target for completion on that is the end of June. So our goal is to have the vast majority of our work completed midsummer. We know that this area is a huge draw for people to come in to go hike, to go canoe, to go kayak, or just enjoy, just some of the natural beauty that western North Carolina has. So we're pushing hard to meet those dates.
Does y'all's work include shoring up the streamlines?
So the stream bank restoration or anything dealing with the banks, that is not within our authority or our scope working under the FEMA mission assignment here. So our task is to get that hazardous waterway debris out of the waterway, out of the floodway or floodplain, and get it out of your lives.
And then just with the interest of time, if everybody, we're going to go out and see some of the actual work. Do we have any final questions? One more question if anyone has it.
what's the total size of contracts, price tag for U.S. Army Corps for debris removal right of way and waterway?
It's a moving target.
Right now, it's continuing to grow. We've got funding in the amount of about $1.6 billion specific for debris removal right now. Obviously, I've requested more as the mission continues to grow.
All right, and with that, we'll start movement.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, Brendan, where we're going to move to? We're going to move over. We're going to move over into the toll.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To fill up an NFL stadium,
Yeah.
it's just a hair under 4 million yards.
There you go. Thank you.
Do I still need to be mic'd up?
How are you? Same question.
How y'all doing? Okay? All right. Well, this actually is a store.
Staggering to hear.
Thank you. You got her? Appreciate it, sir. Oops. Thank you.
Cameras are always on us.
Excuse me, Mayor. Pardon me. It's from the general.
No, yeah, I got that.
These are the different ways that debris is disposed of. From what I understand, water debris, mulch, and then right of way debris. I know that's right.
Behind you, Ben. Give them a final cut.
If you guys want to set up right here, just right on this other side, he's going to offer here. And then we're going to load.
Because it really does take, a lot of labor, and I mean, from picking up stuff to just like doing this work. Which are these subs without spread?
Yes.
Here? Okay.
So these guys are using a barge because this is the deeper water. When you get over about 3 feet
We have
deep.
an operation manager for Ashbrit over here, Dow Knight. He can kind of explain what's going on
Subsets.
if you want.
Right away where it goes, the big trucks that can reach.
Actually, you could let Justin, the reporter, know that. I appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Even the Sec Army has to park outside. Yeah, but to answer your question, traffic is an hour there, an hour
60 miles.
I was told